Welcome to the Reddit stories. r/Askreddit. Women of Reddit, what hobbies do you find unattractive in men? I don't really care tbh, as long as you're not the type that insists that we do absolutely everything together. I like my alone time and I already have my own hobbies. I'm not gonna change for you, and I don't want you to change for me. That's the worst, and it can be so insidious, because people can gaslight you for having a hobby that you choose to, sometimes, do without them. I joined a D&D game my friends were running. We'd play once a month for about 6 to 8 hours, and every time I got home my then wife would clearly be angry, though it took her forever to admit what it was about. She eventually came to one of the sessions and discovered that we actually played the whole time. Her assumption had been that we only played for 2 to 3 hours and I just spent the rest of the time sitting around with my friends chatting and drinking beer. I got an apology, but it also took me looking back on the marriage afterwards to realize that, even if we had done that, it should have been okay. This was literally one of the only things I ever did without my ex the whole time we were together. It wasn't even that I didn't want her there, she just didn't think she'd enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. Spoiler alert, once she tried it, she did, though ironically it's one of the ways she got close to the guy she ended up leaving me for, so I guess that one's on me. Hanging out too much time on social media. This is my girlfriend's hobby/pastime, and it can drive me mad. I'd understand if the content was related to a hobby, but it's all trash. Stupid influencers telling you how you should live your life, stories with robot voice, and TV clips sped up. She gets so immersed she can neglect helping me around the house, or listening properly when I ask a question. I have a guy at work who for some reason loves to go in great detail about his triathlon training routine, and how frustrating it is that, even though his wife knows he needs to get his 67.5 minutes of riding and a 2-kilometer swim in each afternoon, she still bugs him to help with their kids. That woman deserves a chest full of medals for not stabbing him in a murderous rampage each night. Praying no one says amateur radio. My husband is a ham. When we were dating I studied for and got my tech license to understand and share in his hobby a bit. Now I can speak somewhat intelligently when he starts talking about it. He's pretty game to watch my Jane Austen period romance movies with me in return. We have our own channel we agreed upon in case of emergency that we call the Love Channel, and practice on it now and then. I got him a hat with his call sign on it, and he got me a shirt with mine. We wear them when we go to ham events. He's always buying and selling radios, but comes out pretty even, and I know when we buy a house one day we'll have a giant tower/antenna in the backyard. He's so cute when he gets excited about hitting other states and countries on HF. Ham radio is a cool hobby and worth looking into if your partner likes it. Honestly, crypto. I could make an exception if they clearly know what they are doing. But most people who are super into cryptocurrency to the point where it's their entire personality are falling for scams. If all of the world's scams were packed into a department store, MLMs would be the pink girl toy aisle, and cryptocurrency would be pretty much the same thing, but painted blue in the boy toy aisle. So many scams out there. Working. I'm not even lying. I met a dude once whose only hobby is working. When he's at work, he works. And when he's at home, he also works. And during holidays, it's also him and his PPT plus Excel sheets. Man can't even watch an entire movie without typing away on his financial report. And when there's no work, he becomes extremely grumpy. I once dated someone where every time we went on a bike ride, he would constantly tell me what gears to use and tried to tell me how to put air in my tires and that I was riding my bike all wrong. Every single time, the entire time. He basically made me sound like I was an idiot and that he was a bike expert. He blew out his tires almost every time we went on a ride together. I told him, just don't put so much air in your tires. Nope, he just kept going on and on about how he was an expert and watched me like a hawk when I was riding my bike. Telling me to watch my chain, what side of the street to ride on, when to turn, how to sit, my posture, my tires. He tampered with all my lights, my gears. He took my bike apart and it was never the same after. He tampered with my brakes, so they barely worked. He then left my bike outside and it got stolen after he went on about bike locks and which one I should use. Anytime we rode out together it was a huge lecture, like I was a child. It's not the hobby, it's how he assumed that I didn't know anything about riding my bike, even though I kept telling him to stop. My bike became his bike, and he took over a hobby I used to enjoy. As much as I like anime and manga, I will admit, if I meet a guy, and in their public space in their home they show their hentai posters and figures, I'd be a little worried. Anime in general is not the issue. Anime fans and hentai fans are different breeds. The latter almost always overlaps with the former, but some of us are just trying to enjoy some cartoons and shit. Any hobby that makes your loved ones feel like overlooked shit. My so has missed anniversaries and birthdays to attend long distance Warhammer tournaments. Usually he hates travel, so we've never gone anywhere for ourselves. The honeymoon he promised 13 years ago never happened, and we've never been on any romantic trips together. I love travel and bonding over new experiences, but he doesn't care unless it's a tabletop game. I've played Gloomhaven and a lot of other games to make him happy. X-Wing was pretty fun, but it sucks when there's no reciprocation for my interests. ETA, just checked back in during my break and apparently my inbox exploded, so I'm grateful for all the reassuring comments and those of you who are offering helpful suggestions, even if it's just to pack up and leave, as long as you're not a total ass about it. Unfortunately real life is not that simple. The life we've built together is still important. I do love him, and he says he loves me. He's not some abusive monster like some of you seem to think. We are just different people who have grown apart over the years. It happens. I don't know if we'll work through it or not, but he has made some efforts lately to find some local activities we can both enjoy. I'm trying to be as optimistic as I can, while also focusing on my own needs instead of his. That includes returning to school and getting a better job if I need to support myself alone. He's been supportive of that, and I'm excited for next semester. I don't find any hobbies unattractive. I love seeing people's faces light up when they work on or talk about something they are passionate about. And through my years I've found out things about their hobbies and learned skills in many different areas too, like graphic design, town planning, painting. Hobby away and enjoy. I'm enjoying your enjoyment. Degenerate investing aka gambling all our ucking money away. I'd rather marry the guy who enjoys Pokemon, watches anime, or likes to bake. Hell, I'd rather date a guy who is a straight up pothead, as long as he can still function well. I see what you do. You can fish on weekends, you can go hunting, you can drink beer and chill with your friends. Anything is fine with me, as long as it isn't going to ruin our lives. But I'm never ucking dating another person, man, or woman or non-binary, that is ucking awful with money. Splurging or going into manageable debt is fine, but don't ucking ruin us. Same goes with something like a severe drug addiction. What about a man with no hobbies? Don't like sports or video games, or hunting or gambling or TV. I think my wife gets bummed that I don't really do anything for myself anymore. It probably doesn't help that I don't hang out with anyone either. My 3 closest friends moved out of state within the last 3 years and all family is out of state too. I work on our house while I'm not working on other people's houses, and do chores and hang with our 17-month baby and 13-year-old when he'll allow it. Nobody will probably read this, but feeling like a total loser lately. Not a woman of Reddit, but cockfighting. We brought our kids to a birthday party. We got there early, so my wife could help set up. So us dudes are hanging out. The homeowner decides to show us something awesome. It was not awesome. As soon as these birds see each other, it's onside/onsite. I didn't know chickens could get so angry, and they put razor blades on their feet to make it go quicker. I felt sick. Instant panic attack. Like WTF. This guy had at least 50 birds leashed up like dog fighting dogs. It's been years, and I'm still shook. Dog fighting. Edit just some extra info. Back in the 90s growing up, dog fighting really exploded. I had a bit, because my dad had wanted one to guard his shop. I had wanted to be a vet at the time as well. Animal Planet also had a Raspka show similar to MMM Cops and that Airport Declaration show where they showed the days of the Askpa in the different cities. A lot of the episodes had dogfight victims and it hurt my soul so bad. I also had neighbors and classmates openly talk about wanting to breed or buy pets so they could dogfight for money. This also opened up the pizza viscous animal stereotype because of all these people involved in this. As far as I knew, pits were kind, gentle creatures that just want love and affection, and it pissed me off so much. Then there's Michael Vick, but that's another story. May the Falcons fail with every matchup. Vaping, as in they make their own flavors and modified devices and then blow smoke rings everywhere to look cool. Some hobbies that have made me think a guy is cool: craft mocktails, building mechanical keyboards, philosophy/literature/history, vegetable gardening, woodworking, banjo playing, vintage men's fashion, and tree climbing. Being way too into gaming. Like, yeah, it's totally fine to have an interest and be excited about it, but if you don't talk to me for 3 days straight BC, you're glued to your PlayStation chugging Red Bulls the entire time, no thanks. Or if you only invite me over to watch you play and don't want to do literally anything else with me, I'm good. Or if I'm over while you play and we're discussing something and you don't listen to a word I'm saying, just don't even text me. Thank you.